Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the 14th Playa Choir Sunday morning service. It is amazing to see you all here. And we are especially happy that we are being transmitted right now by BMIR. So I want to say welcome to everyone who's listening to us on the radio, everyone who's listening to us over BMIR.org. Welcome to the Playa Dome, to the Choir Dome. If you are on your way to Gate Road or you're sitting on Gate Road, the next hour plus is going to give you a much better kind of pulse than Gate ever would. Let's do this, Maddie.
Oh, yeah. This is Kevin Sumo. He's going to give us our opening prayer.
Good morning, everybody. It's such a blessing to see you, and I want to thank Maddie for inviting me into this sacred space. I know how much this means to you, so to be here is a huge honor for me. My name is Kavissimo, and I know that this has been a really troubling time for a lot of people. And I know a lot of you are going through grief and loss. Who's going through that? Yeah. You know what? I am joining you in that because we mourn with those who mourn. Back in March, my brother, my baby brother, who was a beloved teacher and father, was falsely accused of something. And he lost his horizon in less than 24 hours, and he hanged himself, and my mother found him the next morning. I miss him every day, and my life is imbued with his loss. Yet, despite that, I believe in a spirit that is love, who is a comfort to us. And that light does not diminish. Light, I don't believe light and darkness are these things that are in equal tension. I believe that light and love is triumphant. And I believe that, and the evidence I think of that is this. Here we are, despite our love, our loss, our regrets, all the things that feel like that diminish us, things like this happen. So let us be people of love and redemption and hope. So I'm going to read from an ancient scripture from Hebrews, and it's been a blessing to me, and may it be a blessing to you. The Spirit of the Sovereign Creator is upon me, because the loving Creator has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. Creator has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for those in prison, to comfort all who mourn, and provide for them all who grieve, to bestow upon them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called, you will be called, oaks of righteousness, a plantation of the Creator for the display of the Creator's splendor. They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. They will renew the ruined cities, and instead of disgrace, they will rejoice in their inheritance, and so they will inherit a double portion in their land, and ever-loving joy will be theirs. That's for you. That's all of us. This is not magic falling down from the sky. This is us being the loving arms that support and comfort each other. We're all in this together. So, spirit of love and truth and grace be upon everybody here, that you empower us in these troubling times to be the spirit of love and redemption for each other. And in the spirit of joy, I ask your river of love flow through everyone here, you awesome people who gave up your Sunday to do this. and who've rehearsed for so long. Shine! Amen.
Enter in, every Good morning. My name's Tori, and I want to tell you a little bit about my Burning Man journey and some lessons that I've learned from the playa. This is my 10-year burniversary, and my life has changed a lot since the first time I came to the burn. I was going through a really bad time, and I basically came here to escape. I wanted to get away from the stresses of work and life and relationships and just have fun. And I'll be honest, there was some mischief on my agenda. And of course, in true playa fashion, nothing happens as planned. And I came to Burning Man to be lost, and instead I was found. Maddie told me to write some notes. There were 3 lessons that I really learned from the playa. The first one was beauty. Everyone told me, and of course anything anyone tells you is no preparation for what you actually encounter here, but everyone kept telling me that it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So I had this vision of just nothing and all the twinkly blinky lights, and I got out here and I was so moved by the natural environment. Nobody mentioned the majestic mountains and the endless vista of the playa and the colors of the sunset on the mountains and the joy and the awe of a sunrise and the stars at night. The first time I went out on the playa, everyone was like, oh my God, look at that art card, look at that. And I couldn't take my eyes off the sky. And I was profoundly humbled. Burning Man taught me to notice the beauty in the world around me. The second lesson I learned was acceptance. One of the best things about Burning Man is the diversity of the people that are here and all different body types. And you see a lot of these bodies. From tall, thin, lumpy, bumpy, wrinkly, smooth, brown, white, old, young, and it's all beautiful. And I came to Burning Man self-conscious of my body. And I ended up riding topless through the playa, painted like a peacock, in critical tits. And I was proud, and I was confident, and I will never again apologize for my body. And the last lesson I learned was being present. When you're at Burning Man, you have control of nothing. Okay? You cannot, you look at the little book, they gave you the little book, but you never go to those things. But what happens on the way is what's interesting. And I had to let go of my plans, my agenda, my need to control everything. And when I did that, I was open. And I was open for the opportunity and the chance to just encounter someone. And when I went home, after learning these lessons, my life totally changed. Because I was open to these things, and I was noticing beauty, and I was accepting other people. And so those things came back to me. And my job situation improved, and I met my soulmate. My husband, Dean, is at home right now listening on the radio, so I love you, Dean. I just wanted to share with you my story of how I came to Burning Man to be lost and how I actually was found. So, welcome home to everybody. Thank you.
Before I start what I wanted to talk about today, I want to take a moment and really send our best wishes out to a gentleman. I don't know who he is, but last night he lost hope and he chose to run into the Burning Man fire. He was airlifted. I don't know how he's doing. But just a moment for him. Now, when I left here last year and started my 15-hour drive home, I was already thinking about what I wanted to speak about this year. Because it happens that way, you know, you do the, well, next year I'm gonna all about the And so I decided that I wanted to talk about immediacy. And we were gonna have a nice lighthearted chat about immediacy. We were gonna have a good time here. And then the last 12 months happened. And I'm sorry, we don't have time for immediacy today. Yeah, that's right, I am postponing immediacy. Now, you don't need to ponder that too long because we need to talk about communal effort. So, Burning Man explicitly in one of its principles recognizes the value of people with a common purpose coming together to accomplish things. Now, to me, that brings up two ideas that aren't really captured in the principle that I think are important. The first of those is that we don't ever truly do anything alone. Everything is a communal effort. If you go out on the playa and you find that little cute piece of art, and some artist says, yes, I made that all by myself, I would say, so you didn't give credit to all the teachers who taught you how to do art, and all the people who produced the materials you used to make that. And by the way, you brought that here in a vehicle you didn't build, running fuel you didn't drill for, on a road you didn't pave, to display it at an event you didn't produce. As Carl Sagan said, if you truly want to bake a birthday cake from scratch, you must first create the universe. The second key idea is that together we can create things that are much grander than any one of us can do alone. We can accomplish incredible things together. Did you get out to the temple? Yes. Did you see that structure? Yes. Did you see that incredible tree? Yes. With every leaf wired? How many people did it take and how many hours to put that together? No one person could have done that. My real interest, though, is always in how these principles apply in the default world. And when I think of the grand changes that have happened, they were never done by one person. Women all the way back in the mid-1800s wanted to vote. And what did they do in 1848? They had a Seneca Falls Convention. They brought together people to work communally, and it took a long time and a lot of work and a lot of people, but they made suffrage happen.
Yeah!
Many people give amazing credit to Rosa Parks for refusing to sit down on a bus. But Rosa Parks was not the first person who had done that and been arrested for it. And Rosa Parks was actually a member of a chapter of the NAACP, a group of a community working toward a purpose. And so while we remember Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, but let us also remember the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And let us remember the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Let's remember those communities working to make civil rights happen, and still working on it, by the way. Gay people did not get the right to marry because one person broke a window in the Stonewall Inn. It took a community working hard together to change the nature of this country so that that could be acceptable. Last year, women marched. Record number of women marched, not one, millions. Because communal effort is how things happen. We are living in a world where the bitter winds of hatred are blowing stronger than we've seen in a long time. But we know there's only one thing that defeats hatred, and that is love. And it's love communally. It's organizations working toward love that make changes. So I call on you today, you people who have spent the entire week hugging everyone you see, to find your communities that are working in loving ways, to put in the effort, and to get busy because the world needs your efforts.
Saturday, picking up fallen leaves from a naked apple tree. Raked them all into a pile on the ground when a bitter wind came, blew 'em all away. Oh, I don't recall weatherman predicting such a storm. But the thunder tears a crack against the sky turning black. Zip my jacket up tight, pull the hood over my head to keep this bitter winds from ripping right through my soul.
Changing of the guard. He's a real strong man, gonna make it great again. And you can bet, without a doubt, he'll build a wall to keep him out. And everyone left inside better look alike and fall in line. Don't forget the colors that paint our history in this land of the brave and the home of the free. Never pledge allegiance to greed and tyranny. It's like we shield ourselves from the ruins of hate. We will build a wall of ourselves.
experiences are profound. Life is glorious. Life is beautiful. If only you can find spiritual consciousness hidden behind the gross debris of matter and form. Concentrate not on the changing picture of life and death, but keep your inner eye on the creative beam of immortality. It is the most joyous realization that you can experience. If you look around, we're all decorated in feathers. I invite you to spread your wings with us, and each feather that you put on your wing as you go through life gives you a greater ability to fly. Please fly with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is my first year at Burning Man. My mind is completely fucking blown. And all I can say is that yesterday when we were in rehearsal, Maddie asked if there was anyone that would like to say a few words, and there was a lovely silence about the space until finally I felt like it was my place to say, sure, I'll do that thing. I went back to my camp and combed through volumes of poetry thinking that I was going to find the words from someone else, and I couldn't. So I found a journal entry that my campmate had remarked on being remarkable, and so I'm here to share it with you today. Sunrise ritual with Kathy, El Guaco and his offerings, crying at the loss, crying at rebirth, crying because transformation is necessary, and to witness its passing is a blessing, a privilege. Surrounding myself in song, discovering how it heals deep wounds of the past while honoring the people I have lost and the variations of self that I have shed. Finding myself with the pink ride, loving, hugging, and honoring those I know nothing of, but also realizing it is through such blind grace that we have a community, one that enables deep, authentic, open communication without a need for trust. Trust is implicit. Trust is implicit. Trust is in our hearts. Trust is a gift that the default world has not yet earned. Hugs with housewarming my heart, realizations that I have found myself alone at this time, but still loving others in ways typically only reserved for partners, for families, for the most intimate of friendships, spending the evening with friends, filling my soul with laughter, with the kind of connection that makes the lone heart feel connected to a greater universe. Realizations that this world is magnificent, flawed, but still overwhelmed with goodness. Grateful to have witnessed its wonder and unsure of when I will return again. As they say, there is no place like home, or is it all roads lead to home? And while I suppose I am now understanding why they keep telling me, welcome home.
So again, I want to welcome those listening on BMIR. Sorry you can't be here with us. If you are on the playa and thinking of heading out, or if you are on your way to Gate Road, you need to know that right now it's only an hour to get from the gate to pavement. And only an hour 47 to get from the gate all the way to Wadsworth. It's the stretch from Empire to Nixon. That's an hour 5. The rest is looking good.
So I like to call this church for people who don't like church. And I'm a church musician, and I'm one of those people. If I didn't get paid on Sunday morning, I have to do my own church, which is in the works. So we'll see how that goes. Portland, Oregon. You gotta come to Portland. So I thought since we're doing church, we may as well do an offering. And probably none of you have any money in your pocket because you haven't needed it for like a week, unless maybe you went to summer camp or got ice or something. But what I'm going to ask you to do is just close your eyes and maybe take your hands and put them in your lap and keep them open. And in your hands, I'd like you to envision that little thing that's nagging at you. That desire that is kind of sitting in the back of your brain saying, God, I really want to do that. I really want to do that. I'd like you to get an image of what that looks like and put it in your hands. This is your offering. This is your offering to the world. This is your offering to your community. This is your offering to your family. This is your offering to yourself. Your deepest authenticity comes through your desires. Your offering to the world is living that desire and making it manifest. And some of you are sitting there saying, I have nothing in my hands. But if you ask, you will receive. I believe this. And you never know how that blessing or that desire will come. It may come sort of like fairies with fairy dust, floating their fairy dust on your dreams and desires. It may come as a lightning bolt strike, and you're running for a pen and a piece of paper to write it down. Or it may come from tragedy. It may come from tragedy. However it happens, receive it and give it back out. However it happens, receive it as openly and quickly as possible. Try not to let your resistance to change get in the way, although we all know it does. You have to wait for the moment when you let go and release and say, okay, this happened. What do I do with it now? So if you would take that hand, whether it's empty or it has something in it, would you just hold it dearly for a second, bless it, and on the count of 3, you're going to lift it up and you're going to throw it out to the sky. 1, 2, 3. Amen. This next song came from a tragedy, and I'd like to dedicate it to the most amazing woman I've ever met in my life, Maria Joy, who left this earth in January. And I know she had to go, and I know she wanted to go, and she was successful in her second attempt at suicide. And I spent a lot of time writing about it because it was the only way I could manage. And there are a bunch of songs that came from her. I don't take the credit. She told the stories. I just put them on paper to music. So, Maria, this is for you. This is Heaven is Waiting.
Now it's time, my friend.
time to say goodbye.
I'm Donna, and this is my 18th burn. I love this choir, and I come back every year, keep coming back to have this experience of being able to sing together and create the bonding that is love, acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude, and compassion. Those 5 things are the antidote to every possible problem in the universe. It's the opposite just of everything that could be a problem. So when we take those elements and turn them inward towards ourselves, and we start within, becoming the change we want to see in the world, that is embodied if we use our bodies in the process of getting that message to us first, down into the deepest molecules and DNA of our bodies and into our hard drives. So one of the ways that's been used now for millions of people now for more than 20 years is something called emotional freedom technique, and it uses tapping on acupuncture points. And it seems silly, but it really works, and it's been proven as one of the things that can really shift consciousness. So for this purpose, we're going to do a quickie, what's called EFT. You can look it up and study it more later. But this experience of being here this year, this was an awesome year. After 18 years, this is the best year ever. I've never been here where the weather, the people, the experience was so absolutely fucking amazing. So there we go. That's our kind of church here. So what we do is we find a thing that needs to go into the side that would like a resolution or something that you would like to feel more comfortable. And you put that in one side, either hand will do. And then you take the love, acceptance, forgiveness, gratitude, and compassion and put it in the other hand. And the way to blend those two together and integrate them so it's integrated into your consciousness and it becomes real is to get it into your bodies by putting it in through the acupuncture points. Now you can put needles in there if you want, or you can touch them, but the way it's easiest to do is just gentle tapping. So you start out with this part on the side of your hand if you were doing a karate chop, but you don't have to do it hard. And you find, okay, everybody pick a problem, like any problem. What is it in your life that's not quite working? I have to leave Burning Man. I have to go home to the default world, right? I have to go, like, show up somewhere looking like this and get a shower and look more presentable. Or I don't know. Whatever your thing is that you'd like to feel better about. So everybody pick one that on a scale of 0 to 10 would be up there somewhere where you'd like to bring it down. So pick a number of what you're feeling. Catch it? Everybody got a number? So then start right here and then fill in the blank where, in my case, it would be I'm going home to a big project of fixing all of a house on our intentional community property that we just got less than a year ago when we were here at Burning Man last year with all 5 of my sisters. One of my sisters is right here. There's usually 5 of us, and we all try to come and sing in the choir together, but we don't always make it together. But just 3 weeks ago, my sisters could have died in a house fire, and they got out safely, and the other 2 people in the house also got out. And that was a big shock, and it was also a loss. And the cat died, and we're sad. And so basically all of that, whatever that is, I have to go home and deal with the insurance adjusters and the building department and the zoning and the commissions and all those departments and bureaucracies. I don't like that stuff. So that's what I'm putting in this hand for me. Even though, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to say something like, even though I have to go home and deal with that. That's all I'm going to say, but that's what that's about. Okay, so you put your place in the blank. Even though I have to go home, and what's going to be facing me when I get back to the default world? And you can either say it out loud, yell it out, or say it inside. That whole deal with the house burning down, that whole tragedy. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Say that. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then you can also say, and I forgive myself, and I have compassion for the whole situation. So do it one more time. Think of the thing you'd like to do a morphing of, make it into a mutated, different kind of an experience. Even though I have this thing I'd like to morph, I deeply and completely love myself. And I accept and surrender to the whole situation. So that's called the setup. That little thing where you talk about it or think about it is the setup. Then you tap on the beginning of your eyebrow and tap gently. Don't make bruises there. Gently there, and just go, this mutating situation that needs to change. Say that. This mutating situation that needs to change. And then on the side of your eyes, right on the eye bone socket, right on the edge of the eye, just gently tap there and say, this thing I'd like to change. This thing I'd like to change. And then right underneath your eye, right where the tears would flow, this thing I want to be different. This thing I want to be different. And then right underneath your nose, that spot where if you were really angry, you would be a dragon and you'd be breathing fire right out that nose. Okay, breathe out and feel the fire. Right out on those fingers. And then go down to underneath your chin. And this is the one that if you were a wolf and you wanted to really release, you would tap right here and you'd raise your chin to the moon and you'd howl. So let's do that. Oh. Down here on your chest, if you were a really strong, powerful person, like a big gorilla or something like that, you would pound on your chest. And you would get the courage to go forward and to do what needs to be done to change the situation. That's the action step. And then underneath your arm here, you could even do it with both arms, and you could be like a big bear hug around yourself, and you could go, I really love myself. And then you could do the top of your head, the very top of your head, like the crown up there. You put your crown on, and just could just do little monkey noises like, ooh. And then go ahead and take a deep breath and just kind of feel your heart, feel into your heart, and think about that thing, that mutating, morphing situation you wanted to change at the beginning, and see how it feels right now after that one round. See how that feels. Does anybody feel any different about whatever? You're better? Yay. How about anybody else? Just raise your hands if it feels different. Okay, good. I'm going to go home and deal with the insurance adjuster now. Okay, so what we do here at Burning Man, this is a tradition with the Playa Choir. We started this about 11 years ago when I was in it for the first time, and I've been in the choir ever since. But we put out communion. We bring a few things ourselves, and we figure everybody's got something in their backpack also. And we have some glasses. Some of them are the ones to pass around like a chalice, and some of them are plastic, so they can be for people who don't want to share germs. If they want to just have a clean glass for themselves, they have that. And if you would reach, let's see, the lady over there by the table, if you'd reach under the table there, there's bottles of grape juice. And then whoever wants to have grape juice can have it, and we also have wine. So we have to figure out which way. How about the one that says Jesus juice on it could be the real wine? The big chalice. So put the real wine, it's sitting right there at the end of the table, Cha-Cha. Yeah, just pour some of that out there. There's some screw tops there. Put that in the Jesus juice glass, yeah. And we are so happy to get to share here that we want to go home and keep on doing what we call, we're going to go home and do Playa Dippities and do Burning Man at home all year round, like we've all learned how to do here, and just do it to everybody we run into. Just burn them up in a good way. So that's what I have, and everybody feed each other, share, pass it around outside too, and enjoy the rest of your journey home after you leave here, and safekeeping.
It's appropriate, I think, to say right now, while you're about to participate in imbibing and eating, the old saying, you become what you eat. So a little personal story here is that I think ever since I was a kid, I got the message somehow that I was to be afraid of who I was, because I was taught that at the root of who I was a sinner. And I have found fear in my life in so many ways. And I am a Presbyterian pastor, have been since 1989. But this crazy creativity that the Spirit source put in me started showing up and surprised the hell out of me. Like, no, this is really who you are. And so I had to make a choice and to turn and face my fears about becoming an artist, becoming a musician, becoming an author, and to try to live into that as much as I can. And in about 2 years ago, I had this experience where suddenly I was so filled with fear and anxiety about my life because I was still being kind of tentative about going out there and chasing these dreams of mine. And I suddenly realized that because I was constantly entertaining that fear, my life basically said to me, well, if this is what you're going to eat, this is who you are going to become. And so I was starting to feel that fear deeply, and I had to get to this place where I had to make a choice, where I was going to either give into fear or give into trust, give into love, give into the things that I really wanted to do, felt like are callings on my life, and to really go for them. And so this song is called The One You Shall Become. And it starts out talking about having a friend that listens to you and really sees you and knows you. And I love what Luke said about we do this in a community. We're not alone. But at some point, all of us are invited to truly say yes to what's so deeply true in your soul, and to let that come to the surface. So what you share with the world is really who you are. I think it was Howard Thurman who said, we don't need more people doing what other people think they should do. We need people doing what they deeply desire to do so they come alive because the world needs more alive. So this song is for all of us as you eat. Remember, you eat what you think and feel, and we have choices about it. Be still and listen to me. My soul needs a mountain and a sea to bear witness to what's buried deep inside of me. And in your eyes I will remember what it means to be me. There's a place you've been there once or twice. I see it on your face, but you think the price is too high. You know it's true, it's where you're meant to be. Your life will stop you in your tracks until you agree to be free. As the birds take wing, free as a child will sing. You're done with any excuse or reason not to be the one you shall become. Postpone your dreams no longer. Live the life that you would love. Do at last what you came here for, and waste your heart on fear no more. No more. No more. return and return again and again, and drink deeply from the spring that rises within. Your broken heart has opened your eyes to see the desert you're walking blossoms when you know you are free as the birds take wing. Free as a child will sing. You're done with any excuse or reason not to be the one you shall become. 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 Not to be the one. Not to be the one. Not to be the one you shall become.
About gratitude.
I believe that the source of all happiness is gratitude. Would you agree? And we have so many things to be thankful for, and we have to really value the fact that here at Burning Man and here amongst one another, we all have to value the things for which we are most grateful. And we can't forget any of that. As I stand here before you and I see all these old friends and new friends and great experiences and terrific memories, I have to think to myself, what am I grateful for? And I think about my beautiful son. I think about the music in my life. And I think about being with you here today on a day of 1,000 hugs in a place of just explosive love and ingenuity and self-expression and gratitude. Take inventory of what you have. And if you have love in your life, it's the best thing you could possibly have. Come here, babe. This is Joanne's first burn. It's my 7th. And she has just been killing it. She's just absolutely this amazing woman. I knew I was madly in love with you before we got here, but ever since we got here and been here together, I knew for sure that I wanted to spend my life with you. So as all of you will bear witness, I'm going to ask you, Joanne, will you marry me?
This is a place for people who don't like church, but this is my kind of church. Well, we're getting to sort of the end of our service, and we have one more song for you, but I do need to say some final words. First, a couple of thank yous. Guthrie and Miss Amy, would you please come down here? Or just stand up, it'll be easier for you. If it was not for these two people, you would not have this dome. You wouldn't have DGS tickets. You wouldn't have Playa Choir. You wouldn't have shit. Was anybody here for like the first, second, or third year the Playa Choir did their thing? Anybody? Some folks from Aqua Playa? Yeah, we've been around for a while, and it's really stunning to see how it's grown, so thank you for your help. Playa Choir Camp, stand up, or put your hand up or something. It takes a community. What was that? Community what?
Communal effort.
Communal effort to make beauty happen. Would you please give your appreciation to Brian on the rhythm, Josh on lead, Max on the bass, Ian on the drums, Chauncey's and Easy on the piano, and Mystery on the tambourine. It's his first year. He's a sound engineer, and he's looking so fine. It's his first burn. And he would be running around like a chicken with his head cut off if it wasn't for the amazing Clara helping him out. I got this amazing choir behind me. Would you give him some love? Yeah. I loved Anna Maria's dance in the beginning. Anna, where are you? To all the folks out there listening on BMIR, we love you, and have a safe ride home. Thank you, BMIR, for being here. You're doing such great community service. So I just have a little quick something to share with you. So I keep coming back to Burning Man because of two things. Number one, the choir, because this means a lot to a lot of people now. But number two, because I love to dance my ass off. I need all year long to come to a place where I can completely express myself physically that I don't get to do on a normal basis. It like builds up in my body. I listen to Robot Heart mixes on my bike in the morning. I listen to Pink Mammoth mixes, and I go there and I freak out, and it's just what I love to do. And it's like it's a safe place, right? Well, one would think. That I'm just gonna blat it out. I got kicked out of Pink Mammoth. I got the boot because I was getting a little bit too rowdy, even though I asked permission from the bartender, even though I had spotters, even though I took care of myself. I was asked to leave because I was argumentative. For hanging upside down off the rafters. Why wouldn't you? It put a little bit of a damper on the 2 or 3 days because I walked around feeling like, God, you're such a jerk. What's wrong with you? How dare you do something like that at Burning Man? I really did. I was feeling really low. I asked my camp, until yesterday morning. And I found my way past Bubbles and Bass to Robot Heart, which was right there. I mean, this is a ritual for me. Dancing is a ritual for me. And my brother was part of that camp at one point, so he was sitting on the bus, and I was behind the bus, and he dropped me his golden coin, which is basically his robot heart necklace. He said, put it on and go around. And the guy let me in, and I got up, and I was like, Lee Burridge, like epic Saturday morning experience, right? So my thing, I bring gloves, I put leather boots on, the whole thing, and I'm up on the little thing, not in the heart, but on the thing, because I like to stretch and do yoga and just freak out and be my weird self. And the owner of the bus, this guy George, he's seen me on his bus before, and I've met him a couple times. He said, go around to the front. So I go around to the front, and there's a sea of 3,000 people, and he's like, put your legs in this way. And I've got my back to those people, and I can see him. He's talking to me from the bus, like Lee Burridge is at my crotch, basically. Cool. And he's like, put your legs in there and intertwine them under the bar. And he's like, and I'm like, fuck yeah. So here I am. It's Saturday morning. The sun is up. I'm on the thing. My legs are wrapped around the middle, and I just let go. And hung for about an hour and a half and just got my freaky self. And George is like, yeah. All these people, right? So I do this until I have to come to rehearsal, because I gotta work. And I get down and I talk to him, and he's like, I have to tell you something. In the history of Robot Heart, there have been 2 people that I've ever let do that. And I was like, I gotta tell you something. I got kicked out of Pink Mammoth last week. So the moral of the story is, don't give up on what you love, even though people will try to switch your dreams. Upside down the thing, it was about him being in a bad mood. It's remember the 4 agreements? It's not about you. Don't take it personally, it's not about you. Live your life and do your thing and come to Burning Man to do whatever the fuck you want. And don't let the corporate bigness take over. Go out there and freak out. Teach the newbies what it means to freak out. Teach them what it means to be wild, and just keep teaching this, and then go home and teach it and tell people that it's okay to be yourself. We're going to leave you with one song and help you remember it's pack-out day. It's time to go. We have to say goodbye to each other. We have to think about 364 days to remember it again. Right? We got to go home. We got to clean. We got to rehydrate. We got to sober up. We got to do all these things. So in this process of potential separation anxiety, potential whatever you're going through, remember to be loving. Let us be loving. This is an Alice Russell tune called Let Us Be Loving, and it's going to feature the amazing 2.
like knives. They cut